going to be implemented by this anti-women government of Mr. Narendra Modi. I don't know how many years it's going to take, but it was Rajiv Gandhi who started this women empowerment, the first big step after independence, after Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Don't forget the Hindu Code Bill, which gave equal rights and dignity to Indian women. The first big step was taken by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and it was opposed to the vision of Bharat Ratna Rajiv Gandhi. Now, when you are calling him a Bharat Ratna, I am sure you all know that the Bharat Ratna has been given to Tamil Nadu the maximum number of times. Tamil Nadu is the recipient of maximum Bharat Ratnas. Do you remember the first Bharat Ratna? Chakravarti Rajgopalachari, Dr. Radhakrishnan, he was also from Chennai, M.S. Subbalakshmi, and NGR, and of course Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So Tamil Nadu is the recipient of highest number of Bharat Ratna in the country. I think it's a matter of pride for all the Tamils, isn't it? But don't you give a big hand for that. Now, Rajiv Gandhi's 81st birth anniversary was celebrated on 20th August. 20th August was just a few days away, and as is my habit, I tweet. I tweet at least 3 or 4 times a day, and on 20th August, this was my tweet which I sent. So I will start from there, what I sent on 20th August morning. I wish I could have been here on 20th August itself, but it wasn't possible. My program was supposed to be in Goa. That also did not take place, so I'm very grateful to Mr. Girish, your General Secretary in charge, and to the TNCC President, that even though 8 days have passed after Rajiv Gandhi's birth anniversary, you are still holding it today. In fact, this should be an example for other anniversaries also. I think Thangabalu ji will understand what I'm talking about. When it comes to Mahatma Gandhi, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Srimati Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, and all these great stalwarts, we celebrate Kamraj ji also, we celebrate Lokmanya Tilak, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, everybody. But there are 4 or 5 prominent leaders, like you have put right on top, very nice. Right on top you have put Gandhi ji, Pandit Nehru, Baba Sahib Ambedkar, Indira Gandhi, Kamraj. So these anniversaries, I think, Thangabalu ji, you will agree with me, we should celebrate for 1 week. For 1 week. Why only 1 day? It should be for 1 week, and it used to be 1 week when we started with the Mahatma Gandhi. It used to be always Gandhi Jayanti week. And when Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru died, after that, we celebrated his birth anniversary and death anniversary for 1 week. But somewhere down the line, those traditions have been lost, and we just have it for 1 day. So I really congratulate the PCC President today for having it after a week, which means we have held this, or we will hold these meetings of birth anniversaries at least every week. Now, this was my tweet on 20th August. I hope everybody is understanding English. Everybody is understanding English? Raise your hands. Okay. So, this is what I tweeted. Homage to our beloved leader, Rajiv Gandhi, on his 81st birth anniversary. India's youngest Prime Minister will always be remembered for his computer and IT revolution. He will be always remembered for his computer and IT revolution, ushering Panchayati Raj and women empowerment. All this 33% in Panchayati Raj institutions, which has now come in Parliament. I don't know when it is going to be implemented by this anti-women government of Mr. Narendra Modi. I don't know how many years it's going to take. But it was Rajiv Gandhi who started this women empowerment, the first big step after independence, after Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Don't forget the Hindu Code Bill, which gave equal rights and dignity to Indian women. The first big step was taken by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and it was opposed tooth and nail by the Jansangh. BJP was Jansangh, and the RSS, they opposed it tooth and nail because they are an anti-women party by birth. When the RSS was formed in 1925, for a number of years till after independence, they had not even a women office bearer on their rolls. So, coming back to, I just finished this tweet. Panchayati Raj and women empowerment which Rajiv ji gave, and his foreign policy was brilliant. His foreign policy was brilliant and defense policy was outstanding. Now, it is on the foreign policy today to which I am going to restrict my talk. Because if I start talking of all the subjects, I will be speaking till tomorrow. So very briefly, I will be talking only of the foreign policy, and it is very apt. Why it is very apt? Why I congratulate the TNCC president for choosing this subject, because in present times, when India's global image in the world is at its lowest. India's image was never so poor. It has happened in these 11 and a half years of Modi rule. So it is very important how Rajiv Gandhi handled his foreign policy. And before I go into details, I won't go into too many details, let me tell you, as a matter of record, and this is not what I am saying, this is what the historians say, that Rajiv Gandhi's foreign policy was the most successful foreign policy after Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. It was the most successful foreign policy after Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. No doubt, during Indira Gandhi's time also a very successful foreign policy and defense policy. We broke Pakistan into two. But when you take just foreign policy itself, Rajiv Gandhi's foreign policy was really outstanding, and his defense policy, which I may not cover, I won't have the time, was, I think, the best of any Prime Minister. And I will, as I keep going on, I will keep giving you a few instances. But let me start with, when Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated, you must be remembering, especially those who are of my generation and slightly younger, who was the President of India? Do you remember? Tamil Nadu can't forget. It was R. Venkataraman. Now, after Rajiv ji passed away, there was a commemoration volume which was brought out. And R. Venkataraman, being the president then, he wrote the foreword for that. Now, what did R. Venkataraman ji wrote about Rajiv Gandhi? He says, quote, Rajiv's contribution in the international sphere lived up to the standards set up by Jawaharlal Nehru and Indira Gandhi. Rajiv's response to the call for assistance by Sri Lanka in '87 and later from the Maldives showed his commitment to SAARC. His visit to Beijing in December '98 is acknowledged as a turning point in the history of our relations with the ancient neighbors of ours. The six-nation, five-continent initiative on disarmament and time-bound plan action for disarmament and improvement of our bilateral relations with USA are major contributions. The historic Delhi Declaration with the USA and calling for a nuclear-free, non-violent world set the pace for subsequent steps culminating in the Soviet-American START agreement. The fact, I'm cutting it short, the fact that leaders from as many as 63 countries, Rajiv Gandhi was not the Prime Minister then, still leaders from 63 countries joined India's simple men and women to pay homage to Rajiv Gandhi during his funeral, which bears testimony to the fact that he had acquired among world statesmen in the short span of 5 years, which he was the Prime Minister. So this was the stature he had attained. Do you know, when I was giving the examples of Bharat Ratnas from Tamil Nadu, I mentioned names. One name was left out, which I am coming, and that is Mr. C. Subramaniam. You know why he got Bharat Ratna? You know it? Huh? You know it, no? I don't have to go into the Green Revolution. Okay. So what C. Subramaniam, this is his beautiful tribute. He said that on the foreign policy front, Rajiv Gandhi's performance was most creditable. The Six Nation, Five Continent Initiative, the Delhi Declaration, the initiatives regarding South Africa, the position on North-South issues, all testify to his firm conviction that India should speak with distinctive voice in the concert of nations. He was perfectly at ease in his dealings with international leaders and struck an instant rapport with many of them. His natural charm, just like Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, just like Indira Gandhi, and now just like Rahul Gandhi. That was his personal charm which captivated, the leaders. So all I have mentioned in these tributes, I have talked of the action plan against disarmament, I have talked of the good neighbors and all. So one by one, I will just quickly go over this. Now the moment when Rajiv Gandhi became the Prime Minister, I hope we know the date when he became the Prime Minister. If you don't know, shall I repeat or somebody will tell me quickly? The day he became the Prime Minister. The day of martyrdom of Indira Gandhi. That day he was sworn in as the Prime Minister, 31st October 1984. And in January 1985, he held a conference of Prime Ministers / Presidents of 6 nations. 6 nations and 5 continents. 6 nations across 5 continents of South America, of Africa, of Asia, of Australia, 5 Prime Ministers, 6 Prime Ministers from 5 countries. Why 6? Because from South America there were 2. Now this initiative was actually taken by Mrs. Indira Gandhi a few months before she was assassinated. So Rajiv Gandhi wanted to carry forward that task. And Mrs. Indira Gandhi was like her father, wanted to see a world which is free of nuclear arms and a non-violent world. So that became a passion for Rajiv Gandhi in his entire tenure. So the first thing he did was that he organized in Delhi in January 1985 a meeting of 6 nations across 5 continents. They held this conference. Now you can say, okay, what was the result? The people are still having nuclear weapons. See, step by step he went ahead. And because of this, I'm only talking of disarmament. I'm going fast forward from 1985 to I'm going to 1988. In 1988, he presented at the UNO an action plan for nuclear disarmament with the objective. Now look at the noble objective he had said, and that objective was that by 2010, in 1980 he is talking, and giving enough time to the world to dismantle all their nuclear arsenals by 2010. Okay, unfortunately, Rajiv Gandhi left us very early, but between 1988 and 1985, he also took another major initiative on disarmament, nuclear disarmament and non-violent free world by making the president of the then Soviet Union, Russia was called Soviet Union. It was a much bigger country, which is broken into 7 or 8 countries after that. So along with Gorbachev, they signed in 1986 a Delhi Declaration in which both of them appealed to the world to go in for nuclear disarmament and a non-violent free world. Now imagine, can you ever believe Mr. Donald Trump talking of Mahatma Gandhi's non-violence? Can you ever believe Donald Trump talking of non-violence? You can't get it. So similarly, the Soviet Union leader, the superpower, making them sign on the dotted line on a non-violent free world, the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi, and Mr. Gorbachev did that. So the contribution of Rajiv Gandhi towards nuclear disarmament has been immense. Results are not seen immediately, but the results came 10 years, 15 years later. And there were, treaties between the Soviet Union and then Russia and America, and they dismantled at least 20 to 30% of their nuclear weapons. It has happened, and those talks are still going on because what Rajiv Gandhi did, the other people, the other NGOs, the other organizations throughout the world, believing in disarmament, peace, they continue doing this, and the pressure will remain. So this is Rajiv Gandhi's major contribution, to the world, the nuclear disarmament and a non-violent free world. Now, no country's foreign policy can be successful if it is not so, if the foreign policy is not successful with the neighbors. If you can't live in peace with Pakistan, you can't live in peace with China, you can't live in peace with Sri Lanka, with Maldives, with Nepal, with Bhutan, with Myanmar, then your foreign policy is no good. So Rajiv Gandhi gave the highest priority during his Prime Minister to have good relations with all these neighbors, and especially who? Pakistan, immediate neighbor, China, bad relations since Nehru's time, and Sri Lanka because of the, what you know better than me, the ethnic problem in Sri Lanka, which was affecting Tamil Nadu, isn't it? So he gave the highest importance. Now, I won't go into the details, but just want to tell you, you just look back. When he was the Prime Minister, there was actually no terrorism in Kashmir. There was no talk of any war. In fact, General Zia-ul-Haq, the then dictator of Pakistan, he started talking of a no-war pact with India, no-war pact. General Zia-ul-Haq talking. Now, we didn't accept that for certain reasons. Okay. And Rajiv Gandhi went to Pakistan in 88. He went to Pakistan in December 88. After that, he visited China also, and between him and Benazir Bhutto, who was also then a new Prime Minister of Pakistan, they came to many agreements like that we will not attack each other's nuclear installation. And that pact is still there. That pact is still there. That we will not attack. Tomorrow it is a war between India and Pakistan. The pact is there that we will not attack each other's nuclear installations. Because if you start attacking nuclear installations, you're not killing the enemy only, you're killing yourself also. So he was very clear. And there is this dispute called the Sechem Glacier. My friend from the army is sitting here, you ask him how tough it is to maintain the Indian army on top of that glacier. It costs you how much? 500 crores a day. Sechem Glacier costs us 500 crores a day, and more Jawans get killed, it's not reported. They killed because of extreme cold. How much is the temperature there? It is minus 30 degrees centigrade. No, they had to maintain that. But what for? Why can't we have some sort of an understanding? So that understanding of vacating Sechem Glacier, but with proper, proper terms and conditions was also worked out with first between Rajiv Gandhi and Benazir, but 4 months later, Rajiv ji lost power. Benazir Bhutto was assassinated 2 years later. But Narasimha Rao and Dr. Manmohan Singh also tried, but somehow it didn't work out. But it was Rajiv Gandhi who took the initiative, and I am sure this will also work out. But his greatest contribution was the relations with China. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, I think, had visited China in 1955. Rajiv Gandhi visited China in 1988. So how many years is that? Anybody put in mathematics? 1988 minus 1950, almost 43 years, right? 43 years later, he was the first Prime Minister of the country to visit China after Jawaharlal Nehru. And what did it achieve? It achieved so much that you can't even imagine. Firstly that the president of China then, he was 84-year-old man, 84-year-old. And the moment he saw Rajiv Gandhi by that time had become 44, right? At 40 he became Prime Minister, at 88 he was 44. So the 84-year-old man shaking hands with a 44-year-old young man, and he did not leave his hand for 8 minutes. 8 minutes. Some are saying 3 minutes, some are exaggerating like Manish Shankar in his book. He has written a very nice book. He has written 8 minutes, but most of the editorials, okay, whether it is 3 minutes or 8 minutes, it doesn't matter, right? It was such a long time that hand shook and it made headlines all over the world. And what is the advantage? The advantage was till 2019, this held. Sorry, 2020, when there was an attack on the Galwan Valley by China, right? So for how many years it benefited the country? For how many years? So see the vision. This is the global vision of Rajiv Gandhi. How he improved relations with China, how he improved relations with Pakistan, and with Sri Lanka. The subject is so long that if I start talking of Sri Lanka, it will go on and go on. But the objectives, the short-term and long-term objectives of Sri Lanka, the Indian peacekeeping force, all that was achieved. It was not immediately achieved. There was a lot of criticism, I agree. There was a lot of criticism. But who was the High Commissioner? Who was the High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka that time? Ambassadors are called High Commissioners. When it is a Commonwealth country, they are not called ambassadors, they are called High Commissioners. The High Commissioner and the Foreign Policy Advisor of Rajiv Gandhi that time on Sri Lanka was a person called not Manish Shankar, Mani Dixit. Mani Dixit was his name. Now what he said, he has summarized it. Very nicely. So good that I am reading the summary, otherwise I'll go on speaking. So what Mani Dixit says, that in my perception, his motive was fair, that is Rajiv Gandhi's motive was fair, just and as practicable as he could be in his other policies. He was courageous in taking on responsibility to safeguard India's interests and the well-being of a small neighboring country. But this is very important. You are caring for a small neighboring country. Does anybody do that today? No, they want to show their muscle power. They are the big brothers. You have to be caring for the smaller neighbors, right? He took upon himself a thankless job for the well-being of the people of India and Sri Lanka and paid for it with his life. Now, can there be a bigger sacrifice? Can there be a bigger sacrifice? Mahatma Gandhi laid down his life for Hindu-Muslim unity. Indira Gandhi laid down her life for the unity and integrity of the country. Many years have passed, but let me tell you very honestly, I was 4 years in politics by then, in 1984. If Mrs. Indira Gandhi had not ordered Operation Blue Star, there was every possibility of Punjab becoming Khalistan. So how can we? And she paid for it with his life. And here also, Rajiv Gandhi knew he was taking such a big risk to his life. And yet he took it for whom? He took it for the Tamilians, isn't it? So how can we forget? How can the people of Tamil Nadu, or people of India, ever forget the sacrifice of Rajiv Gandhi? So this was, I'm not going over Maldives also, they wanted, the Maldives government, one day the president brings up that I have been surrounded, please send your army and navy, and within 24 hours, the Indian Navy was there with army on board, and they evicted the mercenaries. They evicted the mercenaries from Maldives within 24 hours. And immediately after that, you know what Rajiv Gandhi did? Within 1 week, he ordered the Indian Army and Indian Navy to leave Maldives because we had accomplished our task. There was no need to be there for any longer. Like in 71, what did Mrs. Gandhi do? Today, in hindsight, people talk a lot of nonsense. But after the objective of Bangladesh was achieved, we put an end to the war. We called for a ceasefire because we had no intention of taking West Pakistan. We had no intention. So after achieving our objective, we said, okay, this is over, right? And what are we going to do with somebody's land? Do you think we are going to remain there? Do you think other powers are not there? The UNO is not there. In Kashmir it is different because Kashmir is a disputed territory. So we can go in. And in 71 we went into Kashmir, and whatever we occupied there in Kashmir, besides freeing Bangladesh, we have remained there till today. And let me tell you, because here, even in North India, when people don't know, all this Kargil and all that, they had been captured by Pakistan in 65, and it was only in 71 war they came back to us. So this is, we cannot forget the debt we owe to Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi. Now coming back to neighbors, I think I have finished. One global power I have already touched, one Soviet Union, and the Soviet Union, I think we should be grateful to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru for laying a very strong foundation of Indo-Soviet relations. Do you remember just 3 days ago, there was on the front page, at least I saw in Delhi, I don't know whether it came in the Hindu or Times of India here. Oh, Times of India must have come on the front page. That MiG-21 flies into history. MiG-21 flies into history. What it means is that it has served its life. The MiG-21 was manufactured in India in 1963, thanks to Soviet Russia. Its Prime Minister then was Nikita Khrushchev. And after the Chinese aggression, now look at Pandit Nehru's foreign policy, how successful it was. Today, the only point you can criticize Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru is 1962, isn't it? You can't criticize for anything else. 62, they will all. Kashmir is absolutely baseless. Absolutely baseless. Next time, Tanga Babuji, you can ask the PNCG president. Next time, I can give a lecture on the partition. So there is some clarity that why the country was partitioned, because very little is known here. So, the foundations were laid by Soviet Union, then Soviet Union. They set up a MiG factory in 63, which is now outdated. And immediately, when the Chinese attacked us, and they were going further, Kennedy, the president of the USA, he issued a warning to China that if you don't withdraw, then the United States is going to intervene. So Chinese stopped the war, and you know, whatever they had occupied, they vacated. They vacated within 15 days. This is not known. And so this is the success of Nehru's foreign policy. Both Soviet Union and America are coming to your aid. And let me tell you, if had been any other prime minister, it wouldn't have been possible, because Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was a person of very, very, very towering stature. You can't even imagine. Tangabaluji and I, we have seen Rajivji from very close quarters. I was 14 years old when Pandit Nehru died. I was 14 years old. And I think Tangabaluji, what was your age in 1964? I was 14. What was yours? Something similar? No. In 1964. 1964, you must be 14, 15 years old like me, right? So I remember, lakhs and lakhs people, like, if you see the Mount Road when Anna died, that kind of crowds were there to see, to give farewell to Pandit Nehru. He had a tremendous national and international stature, and let me tell you very clearly that new generations don't know his popularity, national and international, was beyond compare. It cannot be compared. It just cannot be compared with anybody today. Okay, now, since I was talking of America with Soviet Union, I have finished. So there is one American historian who will sum up what I want to say. So if I read it out, 3-4 lines, it will be much quicker. So his name is Selig Harrison. Now he says, as an American, I would like to record my admiration for the constructive and far-seeing role played by Rajiv in improving Indo-American relations, building on the foundations laid by Indira Gandhi. She had laid the foundations already. In her last years, a conscious effort was made by him to strengthen the economic and technological bridges between India and the United States, and the move towards economic liberalization, while at the same time seeking to minimize the Cold War tensions between the two countries. Now, we very rightly give the credit for economic liberalization to Dr. Manmohan Singh, isn't it? We also give credit as a Prime Minister to P.V. Narasimha Rao, because he was a Prime Minister when Manmohan Singh was the Finance Minister, right? But these steps were taken during Rajiv Gandhi's era. The steps for economic, and this is an American historian talking, it's not a congressman like me talking, it is an American historian talking, that the steps for economic liberalization, they were taken by Rajiv Gandhi. Indeed, he was ahead of his time in recognizing that the Cold War was ending, which it ended. The Cold War ended just 1 year after his death. And that new opportunities are opening not only for a more stable bilateral relationship, but also for growing cooperation with the United States in revitalizing multilateral institutions, especially the United Nations. Now, before I conclude, there are two major points about his global vision which cannot be missed out, and these are the setting up of Africa Fund. The setting up of Africa Fund. Because there were, even in 1988, the countries, in 1986, there were countries which were not free. Imagine, we became independent when? In 1947. And in 1986, there are few countries in Africa which are yet not free. So, Rajiv Gandhi came up with this idea, and he came up with this idea in Harare, which is the capital of Zimbabwe in Africa. And he said, we will set up an Africa fund, and which the fund will be utilized for fighting for independence of these countries, and also for fighting apartheid. Apartheid, which is apartheid is the worst practice than what, how we treat our Dalit brothers here. So something similar, but even in economic terms, even worse. Apartheid was being followed, and Nelson Mandela, the greatest leader of Africa, he was behind the bars. So he collected this fund, a lot of contribution came in, even from United States, NGOs gave, Great Britain gave, countries opposed who were supporting apartheid, even they gave the funds. And in those days, I think he managed to collect about 500 crores in 1988. It was a very big amount, isn't it? So that money was utilized and was given to the organizations which were fighting for the liberalization. So what was achieved? In briefly, it was Mozambique was freed from invasion. Namibia and Angola achieved independence. Very major thing, right? Nelson Mandela was free. And last of all, and most important, the disgusting practice of apartheid was ended. It may not have ended immediately, but it ended later on. It may have taken a decade, but it was Rajiv Gandhi who laid these foundations for ending of apartheid, which of course initially were laid by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru long ago, but the passion and seriousness with which he took that, people like us, we used to take part in a lot of international conferences, right? A lot of international, that time in the Youth Congress, we had a lot of international conferences, youth conferences, right? So we know how passionate Rajiv was in ending apartheid. So I have virtually come to the end of my lecture. I know if I go on, it can be very boring. So I will just sum it up. And compare it with the present the most disastrous foreign policy of India ever after independence. Now imagine, Mr. Donald Trump has already said 33 times, and we are still counting. I think 40 times now. 40 times, okay. So probably by the time I go back to Delhi, it may be 45 times, right? No, what a shame on this country. Where is my... This is a small paper I added. Can you read the heading? When Indira Gandhi defied America. Okay. And Indira Gandhi, while during visit to the White House, she refused to address a press conference and walked out. Look at her courage. Yours, and this guy had the audacity to say, "Hum ghar ke andar ghus ke marenge. We will enter your house and thrash you." Indira Gandhi had already done it. Indira Gandhi had already done it in 1971. She humiliated the President of the United States in his own house. Look at the daring of that leader. And he had warned that to withdraw from Bangladesh and stop messing around. But she did not care. Isn't it? We all know that. So, Narendra Modi has done what? In a few hours. Now, whether Trump said or not, okay, we say, okay, Trump may not have said it, but Trump, I don't think he's such a big liar that he'll keep talking about it every day. But even if, okay, we said you did not come under the pressure of Donald Trump, then we ask you, Mr. Prime Minister, what was the need to stop the war when the Indian Defense Forces, the Indian Armed Forces had gained the upper hand? On the first 2 days, we didn't do well, but the last day we were doing very well, and we had destroyed a lot of their airfields and their installations. Where was the need to stop the war? Now you say that the Director General military operations of both the sides spoke to each other and Pakistan begged it. Then why did you come under? Why did you have to come under the pressure of Pakistan? Okay, you may not have come under the pressure of Donald Trump, but you have come under the pressure of Pakistan, which is your enemy country, which is even worse, isn't it? Which is even worse. You should have gone ahead, carried on for just 3-4 days. You know how much of, in 1971, we destroyed half of Pakistan's navy. We destroyed 1/3 of Pakistan's army. And we destroyed, 1/4 of their air force. This is what we did. So why couldn't we? There was a very good chance. So why did we come under pressure? So, contrary to the image that has been built in the country about Narendra Modi, I think Narendra Modi is a coward. He is a coward of the highest order. And the best example of being a coward is that you cannot tell the truth. That is first trait of a coward. He will never speak the truth. He cannot tell the truth. Plus, the influence of his organization is there. Which organization does he come from? Tell me. Modi was raised in which organization? RSS? Okay. Now I have got another certificate. I got another certificate of RSS in my, in my handset. There is another in my mobile. That RSS did not take part in the freedom struggle, signed by the British Home Government. The British Home Department has signed a certificate in 1946 that the RSS did not take part in the freedom struggle. How the hell do they call themselves patriotic nationals of the highest order? They were not there in the freedom struggle, and after the freedom struggle, when the country became independent, only one objective: how to increase the divide between Hindus and Muslims, so that Muslim bashing you keep doing and you keep getting votes. You are making Hindus communal. Even the liberal Hindus, unfortunately, North India, today their minds have been communalized. So this man, Narendra Modi, is a danger to the nation. He is a danger to the nation, and I'm glad that the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, he went all the way to Bihar and he participated in the rally with Rahul ji, and I'm sure if Tamil Nadu and whole of South India join hand with the Congress, there is no question that Rahul Gandhi will not become the Prime Minister in 2029. You take it from me writing that Rahul Gandhi will become the Prime Minister in 2029. But the condition is, like the South stood by Indira Gandhi when whole of North India had turned against. In 1977, it was only South India, and especially Tamil Nadu, stood like a rock with Indira Gandhi. So you have to stand like a rock with Rahul Gandhi, then no power on earth can stop him from becoming the Prime Minister. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Fantastic, sir.
Sorry, I want to thank the producer and director of the lovely film. I'm sorry I could not understand much, but it was a very good film, and would like to see the 2 hours. Thank you very much. You've done an excellent job, and please show it in Jawahar Bhavan in Delhi, unless you have already done it. You have not done it yet now, so I'll help you take my number. We will have the screening in Jawahar Bhavan. Okay.
ये all language, 5 language कल तो कर दिया है.
नहीं, आप जवाहर भवन में करिए.
जी जी.
ओके. नंदनी वनक्कम.
நம்முடைய தலைவர் அமரர் ராஜீவ் காந்தி அவர்களின் உலகப் பார்வை எனும் தலைப்பில் மிக அற்புதமான உரை நிகழ்த்திய பிரவீன் தாவன் அவர்களுக்கு நமது மாநில தலைவர் சால்வை அணிவித்து தமிழ் கௌரவம் செலுத்துகிறார். அதனைத் தொடர்ந்து நிறைவாக நம்முடைய மாநில தலைவர் 2 வார்த்தைகள் பேசி இந்த கருத்தரங்கத்தை நிறைவு செய்வார்.
ராஜீவ்காந்தி அவர்களின் 81வது பிறந்த நாளை நாம் கடந்த 20ஆம் தேதியிலிருந்து தமிழ்நாடு முழுவதும் கொண்டாடி வருகிறோம். அந்த அடிப்படையில் அகில இந்திய காங்கிரஸ் கமிட்டி நம்முடைய கேப்டன் முன்னாள் இராணுவ வீரர்கள் பிரிவின் தலைவராக இருந்தவர் அகில இந்திய காங்கிரஸ் கமிட்டி உறுப்பினர் கேப்டன் பிரவீன் தாவர் அவர்களை அகில இந்திய தலைவர் ராஜீவ்காந்தியை பற்றி நீங்கள் சென்னையில் பேச வேண்டும் என்று அனுப்பியிருக்கிறார்கள். அந்த அடிப்படையில் திரு பிரவீன் தாவர் அவர்கள் தலைவர் ராஜீவ்காந்தியுடைய வெளிநாட்டு கொள்கை, எக்ஸ்டர்னல் அஃபேர்ஸ் பாலிசி, ஏற்றுமதி இறக்குமதி, இதை பற்றியெல்லாம் வெளியுறவு கொள்கையை பற்றியெல்லாம் இங்கே பேசினார். எப்படிப்பட்ட அற்புதமான திட்டங்களை இந்தியாவிற்கு கொடையாக கொடுத்திருக்கிறார் என்பதை பற்றி விளக்கி பேசினார். ரஷ்யாவுக்கும் இந்தியாவுக்கான உறவு, அமெரிக்காவுக்கும் இந்தியாவுக்கான உறவு, ஒரு காலத்தில் தலைவர் ராஜீவ்காந்தியோ அன்னை இந்திரா காந்தியோ அமெரிக்காவுக்கு செல்கிறார்கள் என்றால் அந்த நாட்டு ஜனாதிபதி அவர்கள் கொடையெடுத்து வந்து அழைத்து அவ்வளவு பெரிய மரியாதை கொடுப்பார்கள். அந்த அளவிற்கு இந்தியாவை தலை நிமிர வைத்தவர்கள் அன்னை இந்திரா காந்தியும் தலைவர் ராஜீவ்காந்தியும். ஆனால் இன்று அமெரிக்க அதிபர் சொல்வதையெல்லாம் இந்தியா கேட்கிறது, இந்திய பிரதமர் கேட்கிறார் என்ற ஒரு பிம்பத்தை ஏற்படுத்தி அதை உண்மையாக்கி விட்டார்கள். பாகிஸ்தானுக்கும் இந்தியாவிற்கும் போர் நடக்குது என்றால் இந்த போரை யார் நடத்த வேண்டும்? நம்முடைய இராணுவ தளபதிகள் நடத்த வேண்டும், இல்லை என்றால் இந்த நாட்டின் பிரதமர் நடத்த வேண்டும். அதுதான் ஜனநாயகம். அதை விட்டுவிட்டு அமெரிக்கா சொல்லி நான் சொன்னதற்காக போரை நிறுத்தினார் மோடி என்று 40 முறை ஒரு நாட்டுடைய அதிபர் சொல்லுகிறார் என்றால் அப்பொழுது வெளியுறவு கொள்கை எந்த அளவிற்கு தோல்வி அடைந்திருக்கிறது என்பதை பற்றியெல்லாம் இங்கே அவர் கூறியிருக்கிறார்கள். அதே போன்று தமிழ்நாட்டிற்கு வந்து அவர் சிறப்புரையாற்றி தலைவர் ராஜீவ்காந்திக்கு புகழாரம் செய்தது நாங்கள் மனதார அவரை பாராட்ட கடமைப்பட்டிருக்கிறோம். விஞ்ஞான யுக புரட்சியாகட்டும், நம்முடைய பஞ்சாயத்து ராஜ் சட்டமாகட்டும், நகரப்பாலிகா சட்டமாகட்டும், இன்றைக்கு இந்தியா ஜனநாயகம் தழைத்தோண்டி இருக்கிறது என்றால் அதற்கு பெரும் பங்காற்றியவர் தலைவர் ராஜீவ்காந்தி அவர்கள் என்பதை அழுத்தமாக சொல்லி மீண்டும் ஒரு முறை அவருக்கு நன்றி சொல்லி அவருடைய பேச்சை கேட்க வந்திருக்கின்ற நம்முடைய நிர்வாகிகளுக்கும் தமிழ்நாடு காங்கிரஸ் பேரியக்கத்தின் தலைவர் பெருமக்களுக்கும் அண்ணன் தங்கபாலு, அண்ணன் சொர்ணா சேதராமன், அவர் அன்பு சகோதரர் ராம்மோகன், நம்முடைய இளைஞர் காங்கிரஸ் தலைவர் சூர்யா மற்றும் இங்கே எதிரில் அமர்ந்திருக்கின்ற தலைவர் பெருமக்கள் அனைவருக்கும் மனமார்ந்த வாழ்த்துக்களையும் பாராட்டுதல் தெரிவித்து விடைபெறுகிறேன். நன்றி, வணக்கம், விஜய். அதே மாதிரி இப்போ எல்லாம் தலைவர்லாம் வந்திருக்கீங்க. வர 7ஆம் தேதி அன்னைக்கு திருநெல்வேலியில் ஓட்டு திருட்டு, வாக்குகள் எப்படி திருடப்பட்டது, ஓட்சோரி என்பதை பற்றி ஒரு மாநாடு வச்சிருக்கோம். இதையே நீங்கள் ஒரு அழைப்பாக ஏற்று இப்போ நிர்வாகிகளாம் அறிவிக்க போகிற அன்னைக்கு எந்தெந்த மாவட்டத்திற்கு யார் பொறுப்பாளர்கள்னு இன்னையிலிருந்தே நீங்கள் நெல்லையை நோக்கி பயணமாவதற்கும் வாக்கு திருட்டை அம்பலப்படுத்துவதற்கும் தலைவர் ராகுல் காந்தியுடைய கரத்தை பலப்படுத்தி அவரை பிரதமராக்குவதற்கும் ஆயத்த பணிகளை நாம் மேற்கொள்ள வேண்டும் என்று காங்கிரஸ் பேரியக்கத்தை சார்பாக கேட்டுக்கொள்கிறேன். நன்றி.
இந்த அற்புதமான உரையை நிகழ்த்திய பிரவீன் தவார் அவர்களுக்கு தமிழ்நாடு காங்கிரஸ் கமிட்டியின் சார்பில் மனமார்ந்த